Welcome to video number 3 of the new day trading strategy. My name is Easton Harris. In this video, we're going to be discussing trend lines. All right, so we talked about support and resistance earlier. A price bounces between different levels, like so. Right, you guys remember this? Very easy. Support and resistance area, support and resistance area. All right, now in this video, we're going to be talking about a different type of support and resistance, not horizontal support and resistance, but diagonal support and resistance. And these are known as trend lines and channels. Okay, so price will oftentimes move up and down different waves. Okay, and instead of using a zone to draw horizontal support and resistance, we're going to use our trend line tool and connect the bottoms. If we're going up, right, if price is bouncing up, we want to know what price is bouncing up from. Okay, so if we're going up, you want to draw your trend line on the bottom to see exactly what the trend is. Okay, so it's bouncing off the trend line. Very simple stuff. We have interactions here, here, and right here. This can help you identify who's in control, the buyers or the sellers. Which way should you be trading? You should probably be trading with the trend line, okay, up until the trend line breaks. Okay, so right now, all through this area right here, all of this, the trend line is acting as support. Okay, so we have support within this whole entire area here. Very simple concept, right? Now, when this trend line breaks, it breaks, and then the trend line acts as resistance. And now we start a new trend to the downside. Price isn't always going to come back and pinpoint touch your trend line. Here, let's do this to make it easier for everyone to understand. If price is going up in an uptrend, right, and we have our trend line drawn on the bottom. If price is on this side of the trend line, it is acting as support. If price is on this side of the trend line is acting as resistance. Okay, so here the trend line held as support, it broke, it then acted as resistance here, and then fell to the downside where we got our new trend. Now we can expect price to bounce from its new trend line after breaking out of this previous one. So not only is this trend line, the first one, acting as resistance, thereafter we had another trend line form after price gave it to us that also was acting as resistance. All right, now if price breaks up above this trend line, above the resistance, it will then act as support. We'll move this over here like so. All right, now if you want to use the channel tool, that's cool too. Some people prefer to do that. If you're going to draw the original trend line the same, okay? So you're going to take your channel tool, you're going to pull it across, line it up as you would your trend line, and you're just going to pull it to the other side, where then you're going to get a channel, and it's going to kind of just give you an idea of what parameters price is working with. Okay, so that's trend lines and channels. Now I'm going to show you a few examples within the charts. All right, so here's an example. We're on Euro New Zealand on the 15-minute. Right here, we have several points. We got points down here. We've got another point here and another point right here. And price is clearly in an uptrend. So we're going to take our trend line tool and we are going to draw our trend line across. And the way we want to do this is you want to be able to connect the furthest points here of the move. Very easy. Price is acting as support, bouncing through here. We'll label it for everyone. So right now, this trend line is acting as support. Okay, we got our interactions marked up here, and this trend line breaks, and you can see price doesn't get all the way back to the trend line. That's fine. That's not always going to happen. Okay, but on this side, if price is on this side of this trend line, it is acting as support. Okay, this support then breaks, and just like horizontal support and resistance zones, when the support breaks, right here is acting as resistance. Okay, now price doesn't come up and pinpoint touch it, but you need to understand that this trend line has broken and will now be acting as resistance. When we do get an update here, look at this. Let's check this out really quick. We have a trend line that goes across here. Price breaks, holds out here. You can see the interactions on the end of this trend line. If you do pull it in to fit this wick, beautiful pinpoint. Now, it doesn't always happen like that. Okay, you're not always going to see such a great reaction, but sometimes price will give it to you. Now, there are trend lines within trend lines. You have to understand what direction the market is flowing overall. So, for instance, when we broke this trend line here, and you're sitting here thinking, okay, great, this trend line has broken. It's now going to act as resistance. If you want some extra confluence, you can draw a trend line through here. And you can see price breaks, holds, it acts as resistance, and it falls, okay? Likewise, coming down this way, you can see that price respected this little trend line. You're going to see some tight trend lines like this sometimes, so I want to show them to you. The price breaks the trend line, retest, flies up to the next one, which at that point was this. But overall, it came back up to this support and resistance zone and then breaking this overarching trend line before heading back up. Okay, so this is just a quick example and brief explanation of trend lines. I'm not going to go into too much detail. If you're still struggling with trend lines, again, I'm going to reference you back to the trading platform as a whole and the trend line section within that. They're really well broken down in there if you need some extra help with trend lines. But that's going to conclude this video. This was video number 3, and we're going to dive into video number 4.